What's going on, everybody? This is your man Abe-Unit, reporting live from the DMV. But you know what? That's enough for me. Today on the Abe-Unit show, I have a special guest in the building. We're going to start off with a quick intro before we dive too deep into the show. Let's go!
My name is Ambery, and this is the Abe-Unit show.
Ambery Bowan, author, poet, speaker. We'll get into all of that, but first, it's time for the warm-up. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's get it. What was your first job?
My first job was McDonald's.
McDonald's?
Yes.
Something about you that I couldn't tell by just looking at you or your social media.
I don't know if you can tell, but I am shy. I'm a very shy person.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I meet say they didn't know or they don't see that side, which I think is kind of weird. But
okay. An animal that you would want to have as a pet that normally isn't considered one.
I would probably say like those little baby cubs.
The cubs?
Cubs, yeah, or a giraffe. Either one of them.
Okay.
I love giraffes.
That's real. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely.
Okay. that was quick.
No.
Favorite dessert?
Ice cream, vanilla.
A venue that you would love to perform in?
I don't think I have a venue. I'm not sure.
Really? Madison Square Garden? Just throwing that out there.
I don't know about that. A lot of people.
There's a lot of people. A place you've traveled to that you never want to go back to?
I would say Maine.
Maine?
It's very bored.
Okay.
Very bored.
Where do you go when you want to be alone?
My bed, home.
That's fair. What chore do you absolutely despise doing?
Probably the cleaning the bathroom.
Favorite thing about yourself?
I think I would say a listener.
You're a good listener.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into relationship. You wrote an interesting article in 2019, Am I Healed Yet? In the article, you talked about the process you went through of mending your broken heart.
Yes. And
the growth that you had emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. But I really just want to focus mainly first on the spiritual aspect of it. How has spending time with God played a process in your healing?
I would say I learned a lot about myself. When I focused on just spending the time with God and increasing like the relationship with Him, it was a lot of self-reflection. I didn't have outside distractions. I wasn't dating anyone, so I didn't have anyone interfering with that. It was just a lot that I didn't realize, like from my father not being there, how it played a part of like my relationships and the people I was choosing to date. I would just say it was just a reflection of things that I needed to work on, and actually, I guess, loving myself as well. I spent a lot of my lifetime not really liking or loving myself.
Yeah. So
I feel like the closer I got to God, I was able to see how much He loves and cares about me, and I could see myself in His image.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you touched on your father a little bit, and there was also another article where you talked about you dated a lot of people, like you sought those out. What was that process for you? Like, did you understand what you were doing at the time, or is it more of like something that you reflected on after the fact?
No, I think the first time I went to therapy and we got to the root of everything, it was my father not being there. So after, I would say maybe like a year or two after therapy, when I was like actually reevaluating like the people I spent my time with and just, comparing it to my father, it was like, oh my goodness. Like, even though he wasn't there, just little memories I had of him, It was just like, wow, like literally I was just I was looking for him, but I was also dating different parts of him. And it was just mind-blowing. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary to think.
And then how is that time of healing that you spent, like growing your spiritual journey, how has that changed on how you view relationships now? Is that loaded? Take your time.
It's very different. I think it's still a process. Like, I'm in a relationship now. It's fairly new, but just going through trauma since my first relationship was 15, I think. And I've been a serial dater where I haven't spent a lot of time with myself, probably until I was 27, 28. But it's still a process. I'm still learning, and I feel like a little bit of me is still healing. But I'm just realizing, some things are triggers, and I have to, be honest and open about it. And just I don't know. It's hard. It's still hard, but I know now what are triggers and being open and communicating with how I feel about certain things, and just realizing that it's a process.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be 100%, perfect. And in the article I talk about will you ever be 100% healed? I feel like healing is just an ongoing thing that you just learn to live with.
Yeah. I did walk away with that as an answer, so it wasn't like yes I have or no I haven't.
Yeah.
It's more it's a process. Right.
Process.
What would you say is the advice that you would have for young ladies when it comes to searching and finding that significant other?
I feel like as ladies we're not supposed to search.
We're not supposed to search.
Not as ladies, no. I feel like
he who finds a wife, is that what it is?
A good thing. But no, that's what I feel like for young adults. My focus was always just who am I going to be with next, and it was a distraction from what my purpose was. And I feel like once I got out that mindset of like being with someone and like really focusing on myself, that's when I was able, God was like, okay, now I can let you see what your gifts are. So I feel like, especially young ladies, like we miss out on so much if we're focusing on the relationship aspect of who's going to be here, who I'm going to date. I just feel like I feel like before you wait for someone and all of that, you should take the time to know yourself, love yourself, and realize what is it that you need and seek in a person before it actually comes to. So that's one of the things that I learned before the relationship that I am now. I didn't know who I was. Yeah. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I wanted. So I had to take that time to actually realize that before the person could come in my life. So I don't know. I just feel like you should really just focus on yourself, focus on your purpose, what God has you here to do, and that's what I think is more important.
Yeah. And how much of that is you growing now? Like because a lot of the times we are like the things that we went through, right? The things that we went through make us who we are. So being where you are currently, would you go back and change anything, or are you happy that you went through the lessons that you went through?
I am so not happy that I had to do it, but it was needed.
That's honest.
It was needed.
Yeah.
I feel like if I didn't go through that heartbreak I talked about, I would not be on the level where I am now. I feel like I wouldn't even have a book out. Right. So, although it was very traumatizing for me, and I did question. We don't realize, when we're in pain and going through like, why is this happening to me? But I feel like it's always beauty in it. We just have to trust God and just wait it out and not, stay stuck in it. So I wouldn't change it. I would not change it. I needed it.
Yeah. You did say that you wouldn't have the book out, and then the book is The Woman I'm Becoming.
Yeah.
That's so like to me, it is the title of your book, and it's also a brand, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just a book; it's more than that. That's can you talk a little bit about like the actual book and then what the brand has turned into?
So the brand actually came before the book.
It did, okay.
Yeah, it started as a poem I wrote on Mother's Day. I want to say it was not Mother's Day, Women's Day, 2019. Just a random like poem. It was called "The Woman I'm Becoming," and I didn't start working on the book yet, but like maybe a couple months after, like, or a year, I just was feeling empty. Like I felt like I should be doing something, but I just didn't know what. So it was one night I was like praying in bed, and I'm like, God, like show me what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, like for you. And I heard "The Woman I'm Becoming," so I went to my notes section and I typed it in, and the poem came up, and I was like, oh my goodness. So the next morning, that night I had like a vision of just doing like t-shirts with the quote. So actually, I was telling my mother about it the next morning. She was like, I had a dream about T-shirts. And I was like, well, she was like, I thought it was something I was supposed to be doing. So she was like, that's probably something you need to be working on. So I started the Women on Becoming like T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. And then I decided that it was time to write the book. So that's how it like transitioned into the book. But the brand is focusing on growing as a woman. The process of womanhood is an ongoing journey. There's going to be roadblocks, red lights, green lights, yellow lights, all of that. We just have to learn how to keep going. So that's basically what I promote is just self love, growth, and just things you need to do to keep pushing you on the journey. The book it's funny because every time I think about it, I just know it was God ordained. The poems are probably like 80% of things that I had written. So when I sat down, 80% of the book was done.
Okay.
So it's just a collection of poems that I've written like as a child, teenager, just difficult moments, therapy exercises. Like it's so much that I poured into that I had so much anxiety about sharing, but I'm glad that I pushed through and did. But it's just literally takes you on a journey through what women go through from childhood.
Yeah.
And I feel like not even just women. I think some men could probably relate to some things in there too. But topics includes like self love, depression, anxiety, relationships, sex, relationship with God. Like it covers a lot.
Yeah.
Short poems. It's a few that's long, but I think it covers a lot.
All the topics. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you are mainly catering to women, but as a man picking up a copy of this book, what do you hope for me to get from it?
I've had some men by the book actually, and they said they liked it, but I just want men to get a different side of what women actually go through. Just to be on that side, to actually feel.
Yeah.
Just have an open mind. Just you go through a lot as women. Not to take away from y'all, because I know y'all go through a lot too. But I'm trying to find ways I can incorporate men more as well too.
Okay. No, that's real. It does take all of us for sure.
Yeah.
And then one of the lines in the book is the woman I'm becoming forgives and releases. Why is forgiveness so important to you specifically? And why do you think it's important in order to complete the healing process in general?
I feel like forgiveness, first of all, is hard. I'm going to admit that.
It sounds like an easy thing, right? Forgive and forget. Like, it's very easy to say.
Yeah, and for me, I tend to hold grudges too.
Okay.
I'm working on it though, but I think if we hold on to things, it blocks us. It hinders us from growing. It hinders us from experiencing just opportunities. So I feel like the first person I had to forgive was my father.
Yeah.
And I like holding on to that like all of my life, just seeing how much it affected me. And now where I'm at the space where I was able to actually forgive him and release, like I feel like I can breathe now.
Yeah.
It takes weight off of you. So it's hard. It's a process, but it's better than holding on to something where, all of your attention, you might not realize it, but it affects a lot of your life, your relationships, other things if you don't forgive people. And I'm also in the process, I'm learning to forgive myself too.
Yeah.
It's hard to forgive other people if you never forgive yourself. So there are some things that I'm currently working on to forgive myself, and God forgives us. So you want people to forgive you because you're not perfect. So I'm learning that in order for me to want someone to forgive me, if there's moments where I need forgiveness, I have to be willing to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forgot the other question.
And then why you felt like it was important for the healing process, and you kind of touched on it, but if you want to expand.
Growth. You can't grow if you stay stagnant in pain and hurt. And like I said, I think healing, it opens up so many opportunities, and it helps you help other people. So I learned by me, going through this process and just like even with like writing poetry or just talking to people, how much getting the feedback and saying how much they needed it or it like helped someone, it's kind of a good feeling because it's not, you're not doing it, you're doing it for yourself, but you can help so many other people by sharing your story. So
yeah,
you gotta heal. Gotta heal.
no, that's real. And you talked about writing, obviously, and are there more books on the way? Is that what we should be expecting from you?
Yeah, I'm in the process of one. It's going to be another poetry book. At some point, my desire is to write a self-help book, so
Okay.
that will be like later down the line. But yeah, I think I found my thing. I think I'm going to stay on this track of writing books and see where it takes me.
Okay. That's it. So, what would you define as a success when it comes to you being an author?
Success. I think when I see like people reaching out, or if I get like a DM, or just someone I don't know, and just them telling me how much the book helped them, or just getting feedback from just like a random person, I think that makes me feel successful. God was able to use me.
Yeah.
And I was able to listen, and it reached out to someone from miles away, or even like I've connected with a young lady. I think she's in London, so it's just that is what I feel like is success. Not about like how many books it sells, like all of that is just, even if it just touches one person.
Yeah.
I feel like that's success to me.
Amen to that, and I believe you when you say that too. Like that's powerful. And you kind of touched on it with the DMs. Like, how has it been somebody that creates, right? Do you feel the difference in the love that you receive from the people that you know versus the people from the people that you don't know? I feel like oftentimes it's the people that you don't know that are
more supportive.
Yeah.
That is definitely a thing. The more I talk to like more creatives and writers, I thought it was just me, but that's a thing. That's really a thing. I would say I do get I get more support from strangers than I do like people that I've known for years and who's in my bubble. Whoever's here to support, I rock with it.
Yeah.
And I try not to ponder on. I think we can get caught up on who's not supporting you. I had to learn to quickly switch, focus on who is supporting.
You also mentioned that you were shy during the warm up, but I've seen you at these venues, events, performing your poetry live.
Yeah.
How have you been able to battle that, the shyness versus I'm about to get on stage and tear it up?
I practice, just keep forcing myself to go, and I think support too. I've met a lot of great poets and like people that I can genuinely call my friends. So just having them, I just realized that even if I go to an event by myself, it's always one person like I've connected with or that I know. So, I'm never alone when I go to these places. So I think that helps too. But just being more comfortable with realizing that this is my gift. So I gotta walk in it. Like it is my gift. So that's kind of the mindset that I had when I first started. It was a lot. Yeah. I was very nervous each time. Sometimes I still do get nervous, but once I start the poem,
it just flows.
Like, yeah, I'm good.
Have you ever had a time where you didn't complete the poem after you got on stage?
No, I have had moments where I like choked up.
You did.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, yeah, a couple times, like 3 or 4 times.
How do you fight through that?
Hard. I had to learn to not be hard on myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I'm like extremely hard on myself, but I'm just learning to give myself grace and be patient. It happens. I'm human. As long as I keep going. So, yeah.
Oh, that's dope. And yeah, you mentioned that when you said that it's a gift that you have, but just because it's a gift that you have, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna like manifest overnight, right? So this is something you have to continually grow, like just with anything. Like Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan the first time he shot the ball, right? But that was in him, and it's something that. So that's incredible. I do think that's something for everybody listening to take away is if you feel like you have that gift of something, to continue to pursue it. Do you enjoy the performances, and do you see yourself possibly getting on tours?
Yeah. I had to get out of, so I didn't like listening to my voice, like playing back the videos of me. But I'm learning to be more comfortable with it because now I'm realizing that I can like critique myself for, making it better for the next time. I do inspire to do more, to do tours. I did my first open mic in Philly, out of state. But yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen. I love being in new territory. Like I felt so good just being in a different environment, different state, new people. So yeah, that I think that's definitely
that feels good, right?
It feels good.
Yeah.
So I need more of that.
It's a different kind of high.
Different, yes, very.
Yeah. And as like a creative, like I love the idea of having something in my mind and bringing it to life, right? That I'm obsessed with that part of it, the creation process. But I'm not necessarily in love with the promotion side of it, the marketing side of it. Like I would rather just create and then it just kind of take a life of its own. How do you feel about that side of it? Because you do create.
As far as like promoting it,
yeah.
I battle with it because I don't want to come off as, I guess, annoying. Of always like, I do think about that. I don't know how I feel about it. I know it's necessary. So I do plan out like when I'm going to post certain things, like have like a timeline or what day am I going to do, a week and a half. So promoting I know is important. So I don't let my thoughts get in my head. But I did have a moment where I'm like, I don't want to post too much, like, in a week, or like I don't want nobody to get annoyed. So it's important. I got to do what I got to do. So I make a schedule of what I do because it has to house.
You're going to see it. How can people book you for these engagements? How can you be found? Do you want to be found?
I want whatever God wants.
Yeah.
If He wants me to be found, then that's fine. So for right now, and I've been saying I need to do like a little feature on my website where you can book me, but just DMs for now or email. But I'm going to be more professional. One of these days, I'm going to get like an actual like booking like situation on my website. But
what's your website?
TheWomanI'mBecoming.com. I'm at A Glowing Poet on Instagram and TikTok.
On TikTok too. Mm-hmm. Yo, these TikTok algorithms are crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's real. All right, so you're a poet, a speaker, an author, and you do so many other things, right? There's a life outside of that even. So how does your faith play a part of every single thing that you do?
I'm going to be honest. Faith has always been a struggle for me.
Yeah.
It's up and down. I am the type of person to panic when like the sight of something is like off track, out of my control, out of my view. So that's an ongoing thing I have been working on. I feel like God is constantly throwing things at me just to test it because I keep having these moments where I feel like God is like, when have I failed you?
Yeah.
Like, why are you still panicking after each thing? So I'm still getting tested.
Yeah.
So I feel like once I just got to get out of my own head, I think it is. But I'm trying to do better with strengthening my relationship with Him. Walking by faith and not what it looks like. It's hard to do for me, but
sounds easy. Nice little fun, catchy thing to say.
It sounds easy, but I struggle with it. I still struggle with it. So faith is an ongoing process for me. But I'm trying to stay in my word.
Yeah.
Periodically, I have this thing this year. Every month, I'm going to fast for a week. I have been fasting for once a week each month. Yeah. So that's been helping me get on track too. Okay. It's a process.
Yeah, that's real.
It's hard.
And I think it's I love that you mentioned fasting because it's not something that's very much practiced in Christianity, right? Like we're supposed to. Jesus fasted, so what makes us think we can't or we shouldn't fast, right? Yeah. But a lot of the changes that I've seen in my life, I feel like I can contribute those to the fast.
That's true.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Anything that you have to say that we didn't get a chance to talk about? A message that you want to get out to the world?
I guess overall, just heal your wounds. Whether it's trauma from a parent, family member, the job, friends, just work on healing and being the best version of yourself.
Well, that's dope. That's amazing. Would you ever consider going into coaching, life coaching?
That has been a goal of mine. I don't really talk about it. Like, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But I can. I feel like it's a lot of stuff I need to work on first.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I see the where it's going. Really? Yeah, I feel like I'm connecting the pieces and the dots just based off of the conversation. That's something that I can see you getting into.
Yeah, that's been a goal of mine, like long-term goal. I definitely can see myself being a life coach. Yeah. That's so crazy that you mentioned that. Yeah, I don't talk about it. I probably mentioned it maybe twice to two people, but
really,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take that as a prophetic. No, that's you never know how God speaks to you.